And we are back, and we just finished watching 1951's Hard, Fast, and Beautiful. This is rated approved with a runtime of 1 hour and 18 minutes. This comes to us from director Ida Lupino, with writing credits to Martha Wilkerson for the script, and based on John R. Tunis's American Dream novel. This is the story, according to IMDb, tennis prodigy Florence Farley is torn between romance and her mother's ambition. This comes to us actually on YouTube. We caught this on YouTube. I had to think about it for a minute. This is obviously public domain. I think it's, what's public domain, like over 50 years now?
I think like 75 years or something like that.
Is this 75?
It was
just about.
released in
it was 51. So 74?
Yeah, it's almost there. So I think we just
admitted to watching it illegally.
I mean, I feel like over 50 should be.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Nobody's clamoring for the rights to Hard, Fast, and Beautiful.
Yes, and honestly, okay, so we came at, well, two things I want to caveat this review with. Well, we came to this because I've been on an Ida Lupino kick. I have a Wednesday night film discussion group, and I actually nominated Ida Lupino movies for film discussion. This was not picked. They actually picked The Bigamist instead, which is also just a crazy, crazy, crazy film. But this one is also interesting because I could see it being sort of scandalous for 51. I mean, like, you and I are watching it now, and we're like, okay, no big deal.
I feel like they played it up like it was something scandalous,
Yeah.
but it really wasn't. And
I mean,
honestly,
we're
like
looking at it with eyes from 2025.
I understand that, but even back then, there was still film noir, and they were definitely trying to maybe fool people into thinking this was a film noir with that poster is ridiculous.
Yes, the poster is unreal.
The poster, there's like this guy grabbing this girl by the arm, and she looks scared, and she's wearing a bra and holding tennis rackets.
Yeah.
And then in the corner is just the mom and the manager just like sipping martinis and looking at this like going on, and they're just sort of like
a picture-in-picture sort of situation.
It's like, what is, this, and that's the mom watching on, and she's just like, yes, good.
And the tagline on the film poster is "The price of fame in the big-time sports racket." And
Yeah, it's sort of like you think, oh, somebody's basically being pimped out.
Yes.
No.
I mean, to a degree, yes, because so part of the story is that the mother is trying to manipulate the daughter into having this fabulous tennis career, but it's mostly so that she can get financial gain and glory.
Yeah, and I think the big scandal of the film was that it's amateur tennis.
Right.
You're not supposed to be getting paid. You're not supposed to be getting sponsorships.
Right.
And they're just going hog wild. It's like, what was his name? Fletcher?
Yes.
He's just like, yes, this hotel chain is offering you a check for this, and she shows the check to the mother, and the mother's like, ooh,
titillated.
Yeah, and there's like, well, isn't this illegal? And he's like, if you'll notice, it's made out to cash.
Yes.
They're just total schemers, just trying to get, and the girl is just like, oh my God, I'm going to be playing tennis in Europe. So but that was another thing that was funny, because when the daughter wised up, there was a hot minute where she was just like, it was like she just turned into Edward G. Robinson. She she became a different person once she was onto her mother's I expected her to just be like, yeah, see? Yeah, I'll sponsor their crappy perfume, but they got to give me a bunch of it.
And so, the other thing I wanted to say is we're going to pair this with a film that I actually watched months and months ago, which is Luca Guadagnino's Challengers. I actually saw that with Kid One, and that is also based around characters and the world of tennis.
I think that one was probably more scandalous than this one.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, that film is also just batshit out of control shenanigans. I mean, this is, I think, for 1951, it probably fell into that bucket. But again, we're watching it with eyes in 2025, and obviously we're not as tittillated as the 50s crowds would have been.
I feel like the big thing that really, like, an audience of today probably wouldn't would find more egregious than any sort of Oh, you mean they're giving an amateur athletes money under the table? Like
Sure.
they wouldn't give a crap about that now. In fact,
No.
they're actively trying to get these like
kids
college kids, a fair shake of the money that these greedy
Universities are
schools
just oh my gosh.
hoover up. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. So now looking back on that now, it's sort of like, all right, that's not really an issue. Probably like the main thing that I found a little bit offensive or egregious was how butthurt the boyfriend got.
Oh, yes.
When it's just,
I couldn't understand why he.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna get your wedding paid for,
Yeah.
and you're complaining. Like
you get your wedding paid for, an all expense paid trip to Europe, and a job, and it's just like, oh, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Oh no, he said, you're looking for a different kind of boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get that either. Don't explain it to me.
He got so mad, and then he just barged out of there. Like she was trying to like be like, what's going on? You know, this is a great thing. He's just like, no way, you're gonna go home and get pregnant.
Yeah, basically.
So that's probably the thing that was for an audience of today or somebody with like more modernized. They would probably find that more offensive than the girl's mother getting a paycheck. But
Yeah.
oh yeah, wear this dress.
Right. Oh, and then you get to keep it.
And then you get to keep it too.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I feel like there's whole influencer industries created on this concept.
Oh my God, yeah.
So another thing that I want to highlight is Ida Lupino, who was an actress back in the day, but also had a somewhat successful career in TV and film. And I don't feel like we talk about her enough. She was a pretty sensational woman. She did a lot in front of and behind the cameras. They had their own production company. This was from the production company. And it was interesting because she didn't shy away from sort of controversial stories. If anything, she sort of embraced it. I mean, I feel like I mentioned earlier The Bigamist. It's about this guy who's a bigamist. He has a family in San Francisco, and then he has another family in I think Los Angeles. I can't remember, and that's also a film from the 50s with pretty well-known actors. Ida plays one of the wives, and Joan Fontaine, who we had seen in Suspicion, she plays the other wife. And so it's one of these films that also I feel like falls within in the cracks, only because it's so old, and I don't think a lot of people.
Well, I think I'm going to be honest. Most people don't know who the hell Ida Lupino is.
That's like, unfortunate.
It's just sort of like, what was she? Was she the lady who danced with the fruit on her head? Because it's
no, she is not that.
No, she's not that lady. But that's what people probably think. It's like it's such an old sounding name, and she never really had the sort of notoriety.
She wasn't a big marquee like
exactly,
Betty Davis.
Exactly, she never had the
Stanwyck.
But even as far as like filmmakers go, like from that era, you don't really think of Ida Lupino.
Sure, fair.
You're thinking like Hitchcock. And,
yes, of course.
And whoever else, but
yes, Billy Wilder.
Yeah, people like that. Nobody's saying, "Oh, Ida Lupino," and it's not like as though it was like, "Oh, she just decided to take a hand at directing a film." She directed a bunch of movies.
Yeah, I mean, according to her IMDb page, she was, as an actress, she was in 105 films, and she directed 42. She is credited with 9 writer credits.
Yeah, 42 films, and like nobody really talks about the directing of Ida Lupino.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, she did a lot of, so she had a hand in a lot of films, obviously, because she started in films. Her first film credit, although not credited, is Not Wanted from 1949. I think that's the Nicholas Ray film. I think I saw that. Oh, no. It says Elmer Clifton and Ida Lupino. But there was a movie, I can't remember. It was on Turner. They were talking about it, how she kind of stepped in because the director got sick or something. And
I think
she
I
didn't
remember
take
that,
credit for it. And it was like, maybe it was The Hitchhiker. Was it that? Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Well, whatever the case may be. But I think I just saw this one, too. This one's also bonkers. I mean, for like a 50s sort of movie. This one's from 53. But, yeah, I mean, that's no small feat. I mean, she went from big screen to smaller screen. And in the 50s, all through into the 60s, late 60s, almost 70s. She's doing a lot of TV movies and a TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, that's pretty impressive considering back then it was sort of like a woman was not the one that you put in charge of stuff.
Exactly.
It was definitely, I mean, they even say it still is a boys' club.
Absolutely.
I feel like female directors have a lot more power than they do now. I mean, have more power now than they did back then.
Sure.
But back then it's almost like an oddity.
Yeah. There isn't much in the way of, I guess, details about the budget other than this movie cost under $300,000, which I guess makes sense. Although I'd be curious to know what the average cost of a film was back in, like, let's say 48, 49, or 50, whenever this was made.
Well, from what I read, that was actually on the low side.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing that was sort of like a hallmark of her work, was that she generally would make films cheap.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yes, absolutely. So she's one of those directors that kept things under budget and just,
And she, I guess her style is very sort of almost workmanlike. There's nothing really dramatic or amazing about the shot she does that she puts in the film.
Yeah.
There are a couple of moments in the film where the angle of the people, I think it's especially apparent in the probably towards the end, where the two of the mother and the manager are standing on either side of her, and she's sort of like kneeling down, tying her shoe, and they just show the mother and the manager sort of like in like downward pointing up shots where they're sort of like really domineering over her.
Yeah.
That was probably the only, like, I guess, artistic looking a shot. Everything else was pretty just point and shoot, and there you go.
So getting back to this film, Florence Farley, played by Sally Forrest, a sweet-natured small-town teen with a killer backhand, rockets from country club curiosity to national tennis champion, only to find her future being micromanaged by her relentlessly ambitious mother, Millie, played by Trevor. As Florence's fame grows, the pressures of amateur purity, sponsorship temptations, and Millie's social climbing schemes threaten Florence's romance and her sense of self. It's kind of interesting because it's not a long film. Like I mentioned, it's an hour and about 18 minutes. So it moves fairly quickly, but you don't really deep dive into any of the characters. However, I felt like Lupino and the scriptwriter, Martha Wilkerson, do a really great job of making the Millie character, played by Trevor, this kind of interesting foil or antagonist in the film, because you don't know, right? Does she really love her daughter, or is she doing it all for herself? And I feel like the truth is sort of somewhere in the middle. I think the mother definitely had dreams of a grander life, but she got stuck in this sort of middle-class existence. And once this opportunity for her daughter comes along, she schemes a way of hitching her wagon onto her daughter's star and sort of follow her up into this ascent where Florence is a pure young girl who's just bright-eyed and just at the beginning of her life, and she meets this young man, Gordon, and they, because it's the 50s, right? They immediately fall in love and I guess start dating, and he gives her a necklace, and basically it's sort of like a promise, right, that they're going to be together. And so she decides, I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to go to, Pennsylvania? I'm assuming they were in California.
They're in California, and I believe the first big tennis tournament was in Philadelphia.
Right. So she goes across the country to go to this tournament, and she does well, and she excels. And so now she has a taste of this, what it's like to be in the big leagues, right? Because she had been playing at the country club, and she had impressed all these people, and they were willing to sponsor her because it bode well for them that she was bringing sort of like this fame to their little town or whatever. So then she does this for a while, but you can tell that she's sort of into it, but sort of not, because she misses her dad, who's decided he wants no parts of this and he's staying home. And also the boyfriend, because obviously she's in love and she's young and she wants to be with her partner. So, but her mother has sort of like this firm grip, but in such a way that she's sort of like, she almost Svengali's her into thinking, but this is what you want. You want this opportunity. I don't think you should get married so young. You want this opportunity. You want to see old Europe, and you want to play at these places.
Yeah, there's definitely a large amount of manipulation going on. The thing about that whole bit was, it's sort of like now that would basically just be, yeah, this is really good for you, because honestly, it would be really good for you. I mean, she's got this ulterior motive, and she's being played as this kind of schemer. But this is the sort of thing where I was sort of like, in today's day and age, the parent would just be like, yeah, this is great. This is a great opportunity. And if the kid was down with it, then it's everybody's happy, because honestly, it was a great opportunity.
Right, especially for a woman in the 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, she was making bank. And
well,
how many women could say that?
Well, in this case, they weren't supposed to be making bank.
Right. Well, her mother was making bank.
Right. Exactly. This was the mother had some heavy ulterior motives. She really liked those checks. Mm-hmm. But then it was just like Gordon, who just seriously gets a stick up his ass about it. I mean, yeah, the things were different back then. I remember we watched some other film about this. I forgot what the hell the name of the movie was, but I remember it was about this woman who ends up in this filthy podunk town, and somehow she parlays that and turns it into an amazing department store, and the entire town thrives around her and becomes amazing. But the guy that she loves, they could never be together, because he's just like, no, you got to give up everything to be my wife. I forgot what the hell the name of that movie was, but I was just like, what the hell, man?
That wasn't the Spanish one where she lived in the department store, is it?
No. This was like, it basically is like she gets off a bus, and all she has is a freaking suitcase, and she's in this town. It's just filthy. Like, they don't even have like real streets. And basically she stays there and turns this like little store into I know. You know what? It's killing me. I can see it in my head. It was sort of like Frontier America, and was that it? It was like Frontier. The town was very like rural.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Frontier America, because I'm pretty sure there were cars.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because when she turns the store into a department, it's basically like she made Macy's in the middle of nowhere, and the entire town becomes this amazing town to live. And it's all because of her ambition and her sales acumen. She's just this amazing woman, but she's in love with this dude who is just like,
right.
Yeah, you got to give this up, because
I think I know what you're talking about. I could see it in my mind's eye, but I cannot remember who's in it or what it's called.
And then at the end, she's just like, "Yeah, I'm
just gonna give
giving
it
up. I just want to be your wife, and I'm gonna just make you food.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you your cocktail. I'm gonna have your slippers ready from when you come home.
Here's your pipe slippers. Here's some flapjacks or whatever the hell people ate out there." And it was like that. Like Gordon was like, it was like, well, what the hell was going on?
It's funny because this is the 50s. This is what the expectation was. I think as a woman, once you got married, that was it. Your whole persona, your life, it shut down because you are in service to the husband.
I know, but these dudes, it was like, if I choose this way of life, I'm going to have to basically just take a scissors to my penis and just rip it off. I'm not a man anymore.
I mean, it was a different mindset.
Yeah.
What can you do?
The hell?
I think another funny thing about the film watch, it's kind of interesting because you and I watched this separately and reconvened in the evening to talk about it. But Lupino actually embeds archival footage from Forest Hills and Wimbledon. And it's funny because when you see Florence, they do close-ups of her. Obviously, it's the actress, Sally Forrest. But when they do the pan away shots, it's like, hey, that doesn't even look like the same woman. So it's kind of funny because it's like you kind of sort of have to suspend disbelief, right? You kind of have to just, okay, this is what it is. It's not.
This was just sort of like, oh, it's a film from the 50s.
Yes, exactly.
You see that sort of thing in a lot of stuff, like in a World War II movie. Suddenly they'll just have like stock footage of planes on aircraft carriers and stuff.
So getting back to the story, we can say that I guess one of the themes is the whole how the mother she's kind of like one of these stage moms, right? And with that comes all this like drama.
Yeah, but it's different because she's not abusive. She's
not.
She's
but
just sort of like
she is manipulative.
But the thing is, she manipulates it. But then it's sort of like, is it really that terrible?
Well, okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that because on the surface I would say no, but there seems to be, and I could be wrong, and you can tell me, and again, this is all interpretation, right? I got the impression that not only was the mother, Millie, using Fletch for these endorsements, but she was sort of kind of maybe engaging in extramarital activities.
You know, that may have happened. There was like one part where Fletcher goes, "Oh, you look beautiful tonight."
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, thank you."
Right.
But they obviously never show anything. There is that little moment towards the end where the father is basically, I guess, on his deathbed, and he's just like, "Yeah, it's over between us. Beat it."
Yeah.
I don't know if he basically thought that was also going on, and maybe it was. I don't know. It's left a little bit ambiguous, so you don't really know. But I could buy it. Yeah. At the end, Fletcher's just
he's moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, he's just like, what do we need to talk about? And he just leaves.
Yeah.
And then she's just sort of like sitting there like a scarecrow in an empty stand.
Yes, because her meal ticket is gone.
Yeah,
her meal ticket decided,
gone,
you know what?
gone.
I don't need any of this. I just want to be with this guy. And her husband's either dying or dead and wants no parts of her. So she's basically alone. Her sort of ambitions backfired on her. So, interesting question. Do you think that as a parent, obviously you want more for your kids, but there is sort of this nefarious element here about the mother's ambition. So is it wrong? Is it wrong to want more for your kids? And is it wrong to have financial gains because of the success of your children?
It's absolutely not wrong to want more for your kids if that's what you believe that your child wants. And that was the thing that was very almost wishy-washy about this, was that Florence, she genuinely liked playing tennis.
She did, but also kind of to the father's point, remember before she leaves, he's like, just remember it's just a game.
Yeah.
And I felt like I agree with you. I think that Florence did like playing tennis and she did like the accolades, but if it all ended tomorrow, she would have been fine. Because I think that she didn't put as much stock into it, because to her, it was just really that. It was just a way of having fun, doing this thing that she was good at, and having a little bit of success. But again, if it meant having to give up Gordon, I don't think that she would have picked tennis over Gordon. And she doesn't, ultimately, right? She walks away at the height of her. I mean, she won the title the previous year. She wins it this year. She did it for her father. But now, that's it. She's walking away from everything. She's walking away from endorsements. She's walking away from the career. She's walking away from future titles because she's going to go be Gordon McKay's wife.
Yeah. She walks away from it then because of Gordon, but honestly, she says I'm retired even before Gordon shows up.
Right. Well, I think because she
didn't even know. She was just like done with it. Like,
right, because I think
it was more the
thing with the mother.
The thing with the mother and the fact that she was worried about her dad because he was like basically almost dead. And then Gordon shows up and it's just like, yeah, we're getting married. I forgot what I was saying. But the first time it was like she did choose tennis because honestly, Gordon was being a bitch.
I mean,
Gordon
I
was
kind of
being
agree with
such
that.
an absolute bitch, and it was just like, why can't you be happy for me right now? This is an amazing opportunity, and you're allowed to come with me and enjoy it. And he's just like, I'm not that boy.
Right. Well, I think the male expectations were different back in 51, right? So we're going by how men and women, like the gender roles in the 50s.
True, but this guy was just, he was
a little excessive. I agree.
excessive.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he should have just let her have her. I mean, I think if I was Gordon, I would have been like, hell's yeah, I'll take a free trip. Thank you.
Yeah, and he was given a job too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was just going to be like sitting in a cabana waiting for her to come back home.
And even if he was, like, you're on an extended holiday in Europe. Like, what is there to complain about?
Different times.
Different times. So, yeah, there's just really not much to critique here. I mean, I think that for its time, I think it's still a good, solid film. It's, to your point, there's not, like, tricky camera work or really layered and nuanced script writing, although I feel like this subject matter is kind of interesting because I feel like a lot of the films in the 50s, because of the production codes and stuff, are often sanitized. And this one seemed a little bit more subversive than like usual fare. I mean, when you think about the 50s, you think about big productions, musicals, stuff like that. Like film noirs are kind of on its way out. Like 40s is more noir. Now we're getting into like these big, massive musicals and in the 50s. And so I feel like audiences are more in line with that kind of viewing. So I can see why something like this didn't do particularly well. And so it's unfortunate, though, because I feel like the kernel of the story is really interesting and they don't shy away from it. I mean, I don't think it's overt either, but there's definitely this like kind of wink and nod attitude throughout the film. Like, we're showing this, but read between the lines sort of situation.
Well, I think, I mean, from what I read, one of the suspected reasons why it didn't do well was just because it's a movie heavily about tennis.
I mean, that could be
the
too.
The bulk of America, especially back then, didn't give a damn about tennis. Like, it had a decent opening in San Francisco and New York, but when it opened in like Chicago, it was just dead. Probably another issue was it's a very female-centric story.
Right.
There's no romance. There's no mystery. There's no murder. There's nothing. And I'm gonna be honest, that poster is completely misleading. The name of the film is completely misleading. The tagline is misleading. I can imagine people went to go see that thinking they were going to see some sort of sordid, gritty movie. It's like, oh my God, look at her. She's just in her bra. And then they saw that and they were just like, what the hell's up with all this freaking tennis?
Also, I think I misspoke earlier. The novel is called American Girl. I think I said American Dream. But the novel by John R. Tunis is American Girl. Funny enough, in the year of our Lord 2025, I wanted to do something a little bit more in the time. So I asked Gemini to give me kind of a breakdown between like the book and the film. And I just want to read a couple of things that popped up. So for production notes and anecdotes, it says, screenplay and direction. The film was directed by Ida Lupino, one of the few women directors working in the Hollywood studio system at the time. The screenplay was written by Martha Wilkerson. Hard, Fast, and Beautiful was the third film Lupino directed for the filmmakers, the independent production company she founded with her then-husband, producer Collier Young. The company was known for making low-budget, socially conscious problem films. As far as the book and the film, while both the film and the novel explore the rise of a young female tennis prodigy, their tones and focus differ significantly. Similarities. Central premise. Both the novel and the film center on a talented young tennis player, Florence, who is pushed toward professional success by her ambitious mother. Themes of corrupted amateurisms. They both critique the professionalism of amateur sports and how financial pressures and fame can corrupt the spirit of competition and sportsmanship. The struggle between the purity of the game and the monetary gain it can bring is a core conflict in both narratives. Maternal ambition. The mother character is the primary antagonist in both stories, driven by a desperate desire for social status and wealth through her daughter's success. And as far as differences, they highlight three things: character, focus, and tone. Tunis's novel, written for an adult audience, often a more direct and critical look at the tennis world, with the protagonist's journey being a vehicle for this broader critique. Lupino's film, on the other hand, shifts the focus more towards the intense psychological drama and family conflict, making the story a morality play about a mother's destructive love. Ending. The endings are distinct. The film concludes with a more dramatic and clear-cut break from the corrupting influence of the mother, as Florence walks away from the fame and fortune to choose a simpler, happier life with her love interest. The novel's ending is more ambiguous, with the protagonist's choices remaining a subject of debate. Narrative perspective. The novel, as a piece of literature, has more space to delve into the character's inner thoughts and motivations. The film, using a visual medium, conveys these themes through performance and dialogue, emphasizing the external pressures and the suffocating atmosphere created by the mother's presence. I think that's pretty spot on. I mean, I haven't read the novel, so I'm not really sure how they differ, but I think that the things that are highlighted here for the similarities and differences definitely speak to the film watching experience of this film. I don't think we need to talk too much about this. If you were going to give this a number between 1 and 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 5.
A 5? Okay. Right there in the middle.
Sort of an average viewing experience. I wasn't bored, but the story wasn't really riveting. It definitely felt a little bait and switchy. Mm-hmm. I thought there was going to be something more overt as far as the mother, because she was really, especially in the beginning, I was getting some definite evil vibes from her. She was really dismissive of her husband. Very, very. Like that scene where they're in their little, almost like that weird bed setup that they had. Like the headboards were on opposite sides of each other. It was weird. And when the guy shows up, when Gordon first shows up and she hears him, she starts doing her hair. Yes. And she seems like really interested because I guess because his last name is the same as the guy who owns the country club. Right. But that's just his uncle. But then she finds out that he's just like chasing dogs. And you see she becomes just crestfallen when that happens. Right. She definitely had this way more evil vibe than pans out for the rest of the movie. Yeah. And then at the end, she's sort of the sad sack just sitting there alone. Yeah. She's, like I said, she just looks like some sort of homeless person sitting in the stands. There's like garbage on the field suddenly. I still feel like as a student of films, if you're studying film, you should definitely watch all the movies, and I definitely recommend this one only because I think that the story is strong. I think it has some really interesting ideas behind it. It's very layered. There's a lot of thematic elements that are interesting to explore and kind of go through, and I think that, again, as a female filmmaker in the 50s, Ida Lupino does a really fantastic job with her source material, with her scripts, and with the story and the production. Like you mentioned before, the filmmakers are famous for staying on budget or below. So, and that's not always the norm, right? We hear the stories about like the astronomical budgets that go over, the filmings that go over. But so this was nice because I think this was a tight shoot. I think it wasn't a long shoot. And so, and it didn't really have like big names in it either. So I think she could keep costs down. And I think that's another thing when you're telling stories, sometimes you're limited by budget, but this is another example of how you can still tell a good story without having the biggest budget on the street. So I think if I was going to give this a number between 1 and 10, I think I would give this a 6. I think, yeah, from where it starts to where it ends and just all the added elements, I think it works. I think that to your point, it's not the worst thing I ever saw. It's not the best, but I think it's entertaining and fun, and it's something that you can springboard conversation off of.
And I'm happy that we got to pair this with Challengers, another nutty tennis movie. So our theme, I guess, this weekend is women in tennis. You had Tashi in Challengers. You had Florence here in Hard, Fast, and Beautiful. And, yeah, I think they're both good. I think, obviously, the other one's more fun. It's just so out of control. But I think this one was fun. I mean, for 51, I think you kind of have to slip things through the production codes. And I think she does a good job with that as well.
Okay.
All right. So before we wrap it up, we want to just remind everyone to like, share, and subscribe. And tell us what you think. If you've seen this before, if you haven't, and you decide to go down the rabbit hole, definitely check it out and leave us a comment and tell us what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like about the film. And we hope to see you back here with another review soon. And with that, we will bid you all a
Good night.
good night.